It's not a normal world, it's Taskmaster world, and welcome back to a brand new video. Before we get into talking about my experience at the Taskmaster Live experience, and this is the first thumbnail in this style where I won't be using a thumbnail from within the video. I'll be using a thumbnail, a photo that was taken at the Taskmaster Live experience, because A, it's a comical photo, and B, it proves what the atmosphere looks like, because there isn't clips or anything. There's only one clip, but that's like a trailer-ish that the Taskmaster YouTube channel were pushing, so it's not really from my angle, so that's my angle of the whole situation. The next thing I'd like to mention is that the thumbnails for some of my older videos, the podcast, are updating to the new background, because I found the official background that the Taskmaster YouTube channel used for their banners and for their versions of the Taskmaster podcast background in high definition. So I used it because I wanted to update the banner for this channel anyway, but when I chose to update the banner, I found it and then used it, and I just need to tweak the banner ever so slightly more, but that'll be the banner. And I'm going to make a separate video about Junior Taskmaster, because this is going to prove how well the Finnish version is going to go if they're using the same concept as the UK version. And at the moment, it is incredible, right? It's amazing. I loved it last night at 8 PM, Friday, Junior Taskmaster. It was amazing. It deserves a second series, and it deserves all the success it's going to get. I feel like in episode 2, Rose will settle in the role slightly more. I like Rose at the moment, but I can just tell that there's, like, she needs one more episode and then she's in it full swing. You can tell she's slightly getting to grips with the hosting role. And I like how she used her Taskmaster experience to help to understand the kids and try and use it against them when they're trying to give a defense that they know that they'll never be able to utilize if you catch my drift. And sorry if you see me altering a light, I'm just trying to make sure that we get the best lighting as possible for this video. So, without further ado, let's get on with talking about the Taskmaster Live experience. But first, here is the trailer and video that is being promoted at the moment for the Taskmaster Live experience. If it's not that one, it will be a trailer from within the official Taskmaster realm. It's just that we might not get access to that, but if we do, perfect. It's also been enhanced to make it more Taskmaster world themed. So, without further ado, please enjoy the clip now!
You will never get a better opportunity to feel like you are in the world of Taskmaster. It's such an amazing recreation of the house. You get the whole atmosphere.
If you're a Taskmaster fan, what you're going to love is the detail and the care that we put into it. If you've seen something in the show, you'll see it here and you'll understand everything. It looks true to the show. I'm not going to lower myself to play the game. That's for you people. You people deal with that. I've got no advice.
You get to experience Taskmaster as close as you can without actually going on it.
I think it's like the perfect mix of the essence of the show, the comedy of the show, mixed with genuine competition. I'm furious. I should have won that. I deserve to win that.
Overall, barring the fact that my wife beat me, which is of course disastrous, we had a great time.
This space is truly a love letter to anybody that really loves the show.
It felt like Disneyland in there.
Fantastic.
Incredible.
A hoot!
So, there you have it. Now you've got a gist of what the cast, of what the crew, what everyone thinks of the experience. Welcome to my experience at the Taskmaster Live experience. So, first come, first rule. First rule of this review. Now, when you go and watch Mousetrap, which is the Agatha Christie play, you can't talk about what you saw or what happened. But you can talk about you had a nice time, you really enjoyed it, you didn't expect it, and you can see why it's been lasted on stage for that long. So, my review as follows will be my experience as in before I went in the experience, my experience during, but not saying what the task as in like how I did I win, did I lose, did I do very well, what I thought the room layout was like. What I mean by that is that was it as accurate to the house as possible? what was some of the adjustments that were made, and then I'll also give 2 criticisms, because there's only 2. One for outside of the experience, and one during the experience. So, let's get into it. I've got my trusty notes here that I actually wrote these notes on the way home from the Taskmaster live experience. So, without further ado, let's just read off them, and we'll go along and narrate as we go through. So, first of all, my initial thoughts was the whole thing was incredible, right? You have to go. It's amazing, right? Nothing could ever prove how amazing the experience was. There's and this is going slightly off track because I didn't write it down, but when you walk in, before you go into the house, inside the house is a paid experience bit, but outside of it's a free bit. What I mean by free is that it's open to the public, so if you go in with your friends, if you're going like with extra people that aren't going into the experience, they can sit outside, have a drink, have something to eat, and hold your coat bags and whatever, so that if that's what you're doing. And around it, you hear Taskmaster music, the music from the show. You get memorabilia and stuff from the show itself. But in the very, very far corner, there is a clip that's played of Joe Wilkinson from Series 2 of Taskmaster UK, where it's about, you can't turn to red and green, you have to get the potato into the hole. And so the clip's playing with subtitles, and you think nothing of it. Everything's fine, that's good, well done. But what enhances it is that you have a replica version where you can play. So you have a bucket, without dropping my iPad, you have a bucket with the actual potatoes in it, and you have to get them in, and obviously there's no one there to adjudicate if you step on it or whatever, you can do whatever you like. But I spent ages, right, trying to do it, and it did not work. And then I went forward, and I got it in. So, other people got it in any other way, but I managed to get it in eventually. So that's a positive to that. I think that in itself was a enhanced element of the experience. I'm not going to drop anything whilst I try and move myself forward, as you just saw. It was an enhanced version of the experience, and I think overall it worked. And I think that's what you do in the waiting time, because you're given a colour. So there's light blue, green, yellow, and you get your lanyard with which order you're going to stand in the line into, which order of importance you are for certain elements where you need to know what number you are. So there might be a thing where you have to write down what to input your attempt. You have to stand next to your letter, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so on and so forth. So that element works, and you then can look around the museum, look around the shop, look around everything, get some food, get some drink, do blah blah and blah. But whilst you're waiting for your time to be called, and then Alex says, calling it. Now, Alex not being there in person doesn't hinder the experience, because he's there, him and Greg are there in audio, in visual, like filmed stuff, and I want to know, once the experiences took off, whether or not they can do a behind the scenes, because I'm curious to know how they managed to make it as seamless as possible and not feel like you're watching an external video. So, my next point was, whilst I'm knocking things over with my elbow, my next point is that, what was my overall attempts like? So, Richard Herring went to the experience, he lost. He is a champion and champion. Kyle Smith-Bino went to the experience, he lost as well. So, we've got people on the show who have lost. A champion has lost. So, what I'm about to tell you will not hinder anything at all. I got nil points, no points. I lost. Now, that was truly because there was elements in it where I missed bits. So my attempt would have been slightly less bad if I hadn't missed an element that was there. As in, there's element, one of the bits, there's an element where you've got like a certain selection, and then you have to try and input your attempt. But if you input your attempt wrong, then obviously that's going to change what the outcome of your attempt is. And that's what I did. I input my attempt wrong. So that I didn't win. I still enjoyed it, and it doesn't matter about the winning or losing. You're just trying to work out that you're trying to get to grips that you're on Taskmaster here. That the set is built incredibly. The lab in the one I did. So basically, what happens is when you go on the website, you choose which experience you get, and in each experience, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you get a different part of the Taskmaster house built. So you get different sections of the house. I'm assuming that certain elements of the house is set for certain different tasks. I don't know that for definite, but I know that a lot of the rooms were as accurate as they could be, but whilst also retaining the element that it's a live experience. So, for example, when you watch Taskmaster, the lab itself doesn't look that big. But what they've done is, because they've had to extend it to fit more people in, because you have a certain amount of numbers of people that go in at once, it works really well that it still feels like you're in the lab. There's a few elements different so that it can be that it can fit with the process itself. So, let's talk about Greg and Alex before we get into my next point, which would utilize as my first flaw. So, when you walk... So, they've already mentioned that they're not there, but they are there in video form. So, it's not a cop-out where you walk in, you watch your screen, you do the thing, and you go to the next one. It's element is that you've got a little Alex on, which has been publicly known, which is the in-person assistant to help you if you're not too sure in the task, to make sure that everything's running safely, and so that they can control what points are being given, and they can properly add in the additional points, and they can do all the admin stuff that needs to be manually inputted. So in the one I did, in the first room, they've set it so that it looks like the room is bigger than it is, but the bit that's the illusion is that that's a screen. So that Alex can appear on that screen, and the portraits that are of Greg that are in the actual Taskmaster house are on video screens of actual Greg that's going to say something shortly. So that works really well. So having them throughout the experience, they are there, but they're there in unique ways so that they don't feel like you're just watching a screen. That might be they might be part of the room, or they might be a screen. That leads me to my first issue. Now, I went very early on, towards the beginning of it opening, so I think that certain elements might change for the next time someone goes in, or you might go in a few months and might not get the same criticism that I'm trying to get at because I went early doors. So when they read you a task on the screen, Alex reads it out. It's on the screen behind you. I'm just pointing. So it's on the screen behind you. So if you're in a large group and they're all talking or making a lot of chattering or like whatever, you then can't hear what's saying behind you. And if you're not looking behind you, obviously the little Alex horn in the room explains the task in further detail, so you're not losing out on anything. But I think that with what I know of the Crystal Maze live experience, I've never been, but I know that you get an actual crystal to do the massive dome at the end. So I feel like to improve this is my only question about the actual experience itself, doing the actual tasks and doing the fun bit. I think that they need to incorporate physical tasks and choose someone to read it so that if at any point you're confused, you can pick up the task and read it and understand what's going on. I think that would just enhance the experience slightly more, in my opinion. I liked it. I like what they did with the screens, but I think that to enhance it further, I think you have to add the elements of a physical task in your hand, so you're looking at it in your hand going, that's what I need to do, and you can process it a lot quicker instead of going, where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. And look behind you, which doesn't always work for everyone. So, I think that's my only criticism I'll ever say about inside the experience, because I think that the experience itself is incredible. I just think that they need physical tasks. I think that's the thing it's lacking. So our next point is that that the little Alex Horn was perfectly auditioned. So every process and every experience, no matter what it is it immersive? Is it a live experience of a program? They always have to hire their Crystal Maze, their Crystal Maze, Richard O'Brien, Richard Iwadi type character, and then for this you don't choose a Greg because a Greg's already inputted on the screen. You have to choose an assistant that will then audition. They are all performers. The little Alex Horns. You can tell they are all performers, because that's their job. They're there as performers, so that when they're interacting with Alex, they can make sure their interaction is as comical as possible, so that you're laughing at them, and you know that you're still going to have the same experience. So the one we had, she was. I mean, the only issue she had, and she made it very clear, was that the suit didn't fit her that well, and that if she bent over, she would rip it to pick up something, because there was a few bits where, at the end of it, you need to tidy up so that the next group comes in. It's not as that much of a hassle trying to clear things up, which is fair enough. So, I feel like it's perfectly auditioned, and it helps these elements help when translating it. We'll get on to that at the end, where I think that this concept will go in the future, but for now, the UK version is perfectly cast. Our next point is that I think it'll get adapted to other countries. So, Bestie Test, Kongen Befale, and Styrmester, which is Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, I think are the three most popular foreign language versions. I know that New Zealand and Australia are very popular as well, but I think that Bestie Test will get their Bestie Test live experience first, where you'll have a not a little Alex Horn, you'll have a David Sundin equivalent, because I think that the popularity of the Swedish version and the fact that the Swedish version has lasted so long, that will get the adaptation next. New Zealand and Australia will eventually work out the best way of doing it, due to the fact that the Australian version uses the same Taskmaster house as New Zealand. So will they have the experience in New Zealand copy over exactly, but with new tasks, but with the new Australian Taskmaster and Taskmaster system rather than the New Zealand equivalent? Who knows? But I think that it will get adapted around the world, because it is perfect. Like the Crystal Maze, they don't have a Japanese version, but they have a Japanese Crystal Maze live experience, so I think it'll work, and it'll help sell the format further on. So our next point on our little notes, the museum was the right amount. So, when you think of museums, you think of massive buildings, you think of it's everywhere, you think it's global. And I can tell you for sure that even though it's small, it's the right amount. There's enough there to say, yes, this is the right amount. Sorry about that error there. I need to make sure I was still recording. So, the museum had elements on it. So it had it had something that represented. So it had the paintings of Joe Gregg, but it said on it who drew what. So it said what the name of the person was, what episode it was, and what series it was. And I think that just helps enhance the experience, because when you go to a live experience, you might be taking 3 people with you, and out of them, only 2 of them will have actually ever seen Taskmaster. So having having people there that might never have seen him or been dragged along by their friends to come to this experience, having a museum there that has the names labelled on it of what these people are, of what has happened in that detail, means that people that aren't necessarily fans of the show, who are just new to the concept, will then learn more as they go along. And I think that works really well. So our next point is Greg and Alex's videos were as funny as they were on the show. Yes. So there was the final task just before you end the experience. I think was the most funniest because they had free range. They wanted to make sure that you got the best out of them. Their best of the best of their performances throughout this was at the very end. That their best VT, their best video is at the very end. But overall, I think that Greg and Alex was brilliant in the whole experience on visuals. I really want to see behind the scenes video at some point. So, next, I want to briefly, before I get on to my last two negatives, I say two negatives because one of the negatives that can be adapted and one that I think might happen, but I was just there too early, is that the Taskmaster shop was really good. I think if someone goes now, there'll be one extra item added, because when I went, the new book that's released that I'm currently listening to on Audible, that is amazing, wasn't currently available there, but I think that it will be available. So they almost had everything. It's just one item was missing, and that's my only criticism. That's my only thing on that point. That it might be different when you go. So I had asked when they were on about the launch for the experience. The people that make the VR game said to me that there will be a demo available, but when I went, I could tell what the VR's going to be, because they had the cardboard cutout of the VR version of Alex and Greg, but I just don't think they had set up the demo just yet. Hopefully, at some point in the future, I'll get to play the game, and I'll review it or demonstrate it on the channel. But for now, the demo wasn't there, but hopefully, if you go, I'm saying you, because it's like the viewers, this is a recommendation to go. Hopefully it will be available for the next time someone goes to the experience. I just don't think it was available right now. And my final point is, I know it's a nitpick, and I know it's a criticism that isn't necessarily fixable. What I mean by that is that not everyone agrees that it should be there, but I host a YouTube channel, Taskmaster World, that tried to be a TV show, but failing miserably. Any suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below. I pride myself of, if I want to talk about a UK concept that's new, I want to talk about how that expands and how that would work internationally. And then if I talk about an international concept, how would that work if you were adapting that back to the UK? So, all the videos that they were playing in the open area to the public, where you're waiting, all the videos, there was two that I could see, were very much, what's the word, very much, I'm trying to think of the word, subtitles, that's it. So, there were subtitles there. You weren't listening to any audio, because there was no audio, but there was subtitles. And I think that what they should do is in one of the sheds, they've got 3 sheds, right? One shed looks like it's going to have the VR demo eventually, and the other sheds just seem seating areas. We should have one shed that's a seating area, but has rolling clips, rolling episodes. So throughout the night, it'll go on a loop eventually, but it'll show elements from Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Canada, but French-Canadian, Quebec, shall we say, Croatia, Portugal, Belgium, the US, UK, New Zealand, Australia, so forth, and so on, and Finland. And I think they should roll the clips on so that there is a Taskmaster international area, so that people can learn, because I know you're learning about the UK version, and you're learning about all this, but I think there's an element of historical value of this is what the international versions are like, so that people can have a chat and look at them and go, and get the talking about international version would be a really interesting point, and I think it would be made possible because Avalon still have a hand in this, so I think that could work. Another element that I've just thought of now that I think would be interesting. If you had a small corner where you, on a loop, played bits of, with subtitles obviously, bits of the first Taskmaster Edinburgh show that is available on YouTube, or was available on YouTube, that Alex Horn has the copy of. I think having that in a sort of historical element in a bit of the museum would work really well, to say this is how it began, and it's the first item you look at as you walk through, then you go through. I think that would enhance the museum slightly. But other than that, I had an amazing time, and I would highly recommend anyone to go. If you are planning on going or have been, let me know about your experience in the comment section or wherever you're watching this, but please do not, I repeat, please do not spoil any of the tasks that you took part of, or which experience you chose when selecting which one you wanted to go to. Please do not expose any of that. Do tell me if you won. Do tell me if you won by any points. I lost with 0 points, but other people might have lost with like 6 points. Don't tell anyone the extra special prize was, because that is one of the elements of surprise. But do share your experiences wherever you're watching this. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, keep tasking. Bye.
Hello everyone, please subscribe to Taskmaster World.